Welcome to Two Idiots, One Podcast. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Bailey.
And Bailey, before we start today, I want to talk to you about something.
Okay, what do you got for us today, Taylor?
Well, I have a little experience, I guess, is what you would call it.
I like experiences.
Okay, so I went to a cabin this one time, right?
Okay.
With my girlfriend at the time. We took a trip down. I can't remember if we knew the person or not, and that's why we had the cabin, but that is irrelevant to the story. Because once we got to the cabin, everything seemed cool, you know? We were having a grand old time, and then things got a little weird.
What do you mean got a little weird?
Like the wind picked up, you know? Felt like the wind was really just like blowing in and out constantly. Things were opening.
I'm sorry, I have a question about the wind.
Yeah.
Was it like, did you guys just eat like a bunch of beans or something? Was it like, did you have too much cheese? Or are you a little lactose intolerant, drink too many milks?
I guess, because like I don't know what happened, but the door would like, you know, be thrown open or whatever, and it felt like something was coming at me that was, you know, like trying to get to me. That makes sense.
That sounds terrifying.
No, it was. And then I guess eventually what had happened was we were sitting in the living room and there was a deer head, like a mounted deer head, you know, from the person who owned the cabin. It was a nice 10-point buck. And I remember looking at it and then I remember it moving.
I'm pretty sure that if I was hanging out in a house and there was a wall-mounted deer head and it moved, I would just immediately nope out.
Well, no, it wasn't that it moved, it was that it like started laughing at me.
That sounds fun.
Like the deer head started laughing at me. And then the lamp started laughing. And then the bookcase started laughing, and then everything in the room was like laughing at me. It was weird.
So my question for you is this.
Okay.
Did you respond to this random laughter by laughing yourself?
Well, yeah, because everything else was doing it, and it was just like a little bout of insanity, I guess.
I mean, that's what I would do too.
Like,
It's the cool kid thing to do.
yeah, it's a cool kid thing to do. But yeah, it was just, you know, weird stuff like that was going on. I punched myself in the face a couple times, and I don't really understand why.
Was your hand possessed, like idle hands?
Like, I guess it could have been. I don't know. I don't know. It was a weird camping trip. Like, I'll never do it again, ever.
I mean, that makes sense. It kind of reminds me of today's movie.
What is today's movie, Bailey?
So we've actually got kind of a twofer, but it's more of a super episode. It's Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, both directed by Sam Raimi.
And then, you know, Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 were written by the same different person, if that makes sense. Because, like, the first one, Evil Dead 2, is written by Sam Raimi and Scott Spiegel.
Yes.
I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I don't know. It looks like Spiegel and Scott Spiegel. If you're listening and I am mispronouncing your name, please let me know. And then Sam Raimi and his brother Ivan Raimi wrote Army of Darkness.
Yep, that makes sense. That checks out.
But they're both Sam Raimi movies, and that's the important part.
Exactly. Another Sam Raimi movie that you guys might be familiar with is the new Doctor Strange that came out a few months ago.
Which is Evil Dead 4.
I'm pretty sure it's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, sir.
Well, if Army of Darkness is Evil Dead 3, but it's not called that, then Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness can be called Evil Dead 4.
I mean, that's fair.
I know.
That being said, I don't necessarily know that there's sufficient evidence to call it Evil Dead 4, but it probably takes place in the same universe.
Oh, it definitely does. There is sufficient evidence, but I don't want to spoil that movie when we're actually spoiling two movies today.
Yeah, we digress.
We digress.
What do you give? Let's start with Evil Dead 2. What do you
Okay.
give that as a standalone movie? Its score, or not a standalone movie, but you know what I mean.
4 out of 5.
Okay, why?
Because I liked it, but it also shows his age. You know what I'm saying?
You're saying you don't think it aged well?
I don't think it aged well. I think like it's an 80s movie, which is why it is a 4, but that's also a good thing because some of the things that they did in this movie were really cool, but we'll get into that later.
Absolutely.
There was. Hope I didn't burp in the mic.
It was very mild. It's okay.
Okay. I was like, oh, it just came all of a sudden.
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes we've got the burpsies.
So what would you give Evil Dead 2?
So I would actually give it the same as you. I'd give it about a 4. And the reason for that being is I thought everything except the story was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the visual effects, really cool. All of the, monsters or whatever, cool.
The Deadites.
Yeah, the Deadites. I don't think, were they called Deadites in Evil Dead 2, or was that I mean, I know that at the very end when he went to the medieval dead, they said it, but was that a word used to describe them prior to him going to the medieval dead times?
Not by, excuse me, not by him, I don't think.
That's fair. But yeah, I thought all of that was really cool. I thought the like physical comedy / body horror was all really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I didn't like is the story, and it's not necessarily that I didn't like it. It's just it didn't appear very like strong / well thought out.
Okay, we'll get into that.
Yep.
Because RogerEbert.com agrees with us. Gave it a 4 out of 5 or a 3 out of 4 on the Roger Ebert scale.
Yep. So it's a pretty standard. A lot of people viewed this movie the same thing. I think it's phenomenal and that everyone should watch it, even if you're not a horror fan, because I would consider this more of a comedy than a horror movie.
Oh, it's a comedy horror movie, like, Tucker and Dale.
Or Cooties.
Or Cuties. So let me ask you this. Do you just want to give the score for Army of Darkness as well?
Yeah.
So would you...
So I would give Army of Darkness a 3.5.
Okay, like a point, okay.
Like 0.5 lower.
0.5 lower. Right.
And I know that most people think that Army of Darkness is better.
Mm-hmm.
However, for me, once again, the story didn't feel super strong. And the thing I really enjoyed was like the physical comedy, body horror, and just like the jokes and basically Bruce Campbell's persona, or Ash, the character.
Mm-hmm.
But the story, again, wasn't super strong, and I thought the physical comedy and stuff was less funny in the second one, or in Army of Darkness. So, for me, that lowered the score.
Okay, no, I think that it was a 5 out of 5. Roger Ebert would also agree with you. RogerEbert.com gave it a 2 out of 4.
Yeah.
Or a 3 out of 5, lowering it and saying that it wasn't as funny
Yeah, I
and
agree.
goofy.
I agree with both of those statements.
Yeah, and that was the main reason why it scored 1 point lower. It was basically saying it's a fun time, but it's not Evil Dead 2.
Exactly. No, that is 100% how I feel about it.
But no, I give it a 5, and that's probably due to nostalgia, because I can remember the first time that my dad ever showed me this movie was on Comedy Central.
That makes sense. That's a good place for it to be.
Yeah, and that's why I like Army of Darkness. Plus, it is so damn quotable.
It is very quotable.
There's only one quote that I can do in Evil Dead 2.
Groovy?
Groovy, that's it.
I mean, that's fair.
There's so many in Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Let's just jump into it.
Okay.
Let's jump into things that you liked. We'll start with Evil Dead 2.
Okay, but first oh, never mind. I'm silly. I was going to ask you, but first I want your favorite Army of Darkness quotes, but that's out of order.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. As soon as we jump into Army of Darkness, I will give them to you because I have them memorized.
Very nice.
Well, yeah, so the summary for Evil Dead 2, super simple and easy. Ash Williams is taking his girlfriend Linda to a cabin that he does not own. It's owned by a doctor whose name I don't think it ever says, or if it does, I didn't care enough to remember.
That's fair.
But basically, his wife,
Henrietta.
Yeah,
She's
her
in the
name is-
basement.
she's in the basement. Her daughter is also there. They all basically go on a family expedition to Egypt and come back with the Kandarian dagger and the Kandarian Book of the Dead, known as the Necronomicon.
Yes.
And because the doctor is a genius, he decides that he is going to translate it and speaks the words of the book, which opens up the gates to hell and causes demons and the demons and the dead basically to enter. And Ash has to fight him off.
So don't you just hate it when you're just doing your thing and you're reading a book and you read it out loud and all of a sudden you've accidentally summoned demons?
Well, yeah, so what was funny is he records himself doing it, so then Ash just does it twice.
Yeah, just plays the recording, summons demons.
Yeah, because he summoned it and Henrietta happened, and then Ash summons it and shit goes downhill real quick.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, so like you said, the plot of both of these movies isn't really the greatest in the world.
No, I don't think anybody watches these movies for plot reasons.
No, no, you watch it because there's a lot of really cool scenes. There are a lot of really, really funny scenes, I think.
Absolutely.
But I would say that the Three Stooges were a strong inspiration.
Well, so yes, I agree. So I'm not sure if it was Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. I believe it was Evil Dead 2, where when his hand gets possessed and starts trying to poke him in the eyes, and he does the Three Stooge
That was
block. Was
no,
that
that was
three?
Army of Darkness because the skeletons in the graveyard are doing it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a clear Three Stooge reference inside this trilogy.
Which it is a trilogy, but the reason you're probably wondering why did we do 2 in Army of Darkness and not the first Evil Dead? And that's because the first Evil Dead is literally nothing like these 2 movies.
Yeah, it's like it tries to be a horror movie, and these two try to be comedies. And additionally, the beginning of Evil Dead 2, or not the beginning, but Evil Dead 2 kind of, it's a sequel con, which is a sequel and a retcon, because it retcons some of the stuff from Evil Dead while being a sequel to it.
Yeah, there were a lot of confused people, I think, with this one. So Bruce Campbell eventually came out in an interview and said the first, I want to say it's like 7 minutes. The exact time where you can notice the transition or where it's supposed to happen is when the demon has possessed him and he's flying through the air. That is the point where it stops being a reimagining, retelling, catch up, and ends up being its own thing.
Exactly.
Because if you watch the first movie, it's Ash and his friends go to a cabin, and the doctor guy or whatever had the tape recording, and he plays it, and bad shit happens.
Exactly.
So you're wondering why him and Linda go to it.
Right.
Because it made 0 sense.
Right. So, interestingly enough, and this is just more of a fun fact than anything specifically about these movies.
Fun fact.
But if you watch Ash vs. Evil Dead, the TV series, I want to say it's in the first season. At one point, he's explaining how it all happened, and he talks about how he can't remember if the tape recorder was initially in the basement or in the living room, because in the original movie it was in the basement, but in Evil Dead 2 it was in the living room because Henrietta was in the basement.
I'm glad you caught that.
Right. And the reason they do that is to show that it's all canon. The only thing about it is it's like the Necronomicon does like alternate timelines, multiverse bullshit. And that's the easiest way that I've seen it explained.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that the reason Army of Darkness isn't in there is because of, big budget studio.
Yeah, but that was fixed in season 2.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, they were actually able to reference stuff from Army of Darkness in season 2 because they got permission.
So fun fact about Evil Dead 2, Stephen King was like such a big fan of the original Evil Dead that he personally had somebody produce Evil Dead 2 because he wanted to give them more of a budget because of what they were working with. And the thing that I really appreciate about this movie is you can tell that they're messing with a bigger budget, but not really until the end.
Right.
The end is when you can really see it, because everything else, and I think the reason that I like this movie so much is the use of claymation, the use of, even when he's like crossing the bridge, and you can obviously tell that it's a claymation scene.
Yeah.
In the scenes where they're looking at the cabin or whatever, and it's a clay cabin or model cabin that they're looking at, just like the tricks that they pull in this movie were really, really cool.
Well, even beyond that, because I'm glad you brought that up, because I like the claymation a lot too in Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
But just the practical effects in general, because like all of the scenes where the creature's attacked and it's oozing and spraying everywhere, like,
it is so incredibly over the top.
Yeah, it's over the top but amazing, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy about this movie. And it's got a lot of like really good slapstick humor in it.
Yes. I would say the best example of that is when his hand gets possessed.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just beating the shit out of him.
Yes, because he is just beating the shit out of himself because of that.
No, his possessed hand is beating the shit out of him.
But it's him.
No, it's his possessed hand, bro. They're different characters.
They definitely aren't.
They're played by different actors.
No, they're not. They are.
One is played by Bruce Campbell, and the other is played by the Dark Spirit.
No, it's played by William. I can't remember what his name is, and he did like all the props and stuff. But it never references the fact that he is the hand. Because I watched it on Amazon, so when you pause it, it tells you like who's in the scene.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it does. Which also I have a fun fact about Henrietta because of that. But
are you talking about the fact that Henrietta was played by Sam Raimi?
Ted Raimi.
I'm sorry.
It was his brother. Yeah. Which was
I fucked that up. I fucked that.
Well, it's not Henrietta. It is possessed Henrietta because actual Henrietta is played by a woman whose name I don't remember, but she's like a real person. And then possessed Henrietta is all Ted Raimi.
I don't know why I said Sam Raimi. I guess because he's the director.
Probably, and he made this masterpiece.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's an actual guy when the hand is crawling around and like flips him off before it goes into the hole in the wall, and then gets mouse trapped. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I would say that that's probably the best. That's the funniest scene. Like even to this day, the possessed hand scene is what I tell people really stands out about this movie.
Well, I don't know. So I think that's a really good scene.
Mm-hmm.
But in the intro today, you kind of did the scene that I thought was really funny because I legitimately laughed out loud when I was watching it during the scene where the deer head started laughing and the bookcase itself started laughing and then all the books started laughing. And then when Bruce Campbell started laughing too, like laugh crying, you know what I'm saying? I was sitting in my bed watching it, laughing with them. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, no, I thought that was funny too.
Like, I don't know. I think to me that is probably the funniest scene. Not the best example of slapstick, which would be the hand, but
right, no. Slapstick is definitely the hand. But I think that just made it overall funny because of what the hand was doing.
no, that's definitely fair.
But the way that it just abruptly stops when they knock on the door.
So, I know we're doing this kind of random and out of order.
We are, but you know.
So one effect or scene thing that I really liked is, I don't know if you remember when the smoke retreats into the tree, like near the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, when they did it backwards.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. And then the scene where he was running through the house being chased by the demon, and it was a continuous shot from outside the cabin into the cabin, throughout the rooms of the cabin, and then followed him out.
So you know how they do the demon shots, right?
I'm pretty sure it's like on some kind of moped or four-wheeler or something like that.
No, it is a camera that is put on a piece of plywood that is being held together by two boards, and they have people that run and carry the camera. That's how they do it.
Oh, see, that makes sense. I don't know. I just felt like the reason I thought it was a probably like some kind of motor vehicle is because in the scene where it's leaving the cabin, obviously inside it's not a motor vehicle and it's someone carrying it.
Right.
But the scene outside felt really fast, which I guess they could have sped up the recording.
Which I think that they do because they get that creepy factor, because this originated in the first one.
Yeah.
With the way that they were doing things, because they had to be creative. And even with this one, I think they had to be creative with a lot of things. But that was the way that they did that one. And it's just always been one of those cool things to know that there's, two guys running, carrying a camera. And that's how you get that really cool POV shot.
I mean, the thing that's so cool about that shot is it seems pretty steady, especially to know that it's two dudes just carrying it.
Mm-hmm.
But not only does it seem steady, but to get a long flowing shot like that looks good, because I think that's a good shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do too.
I think that's really awesome. Like, they did an amazing job with this movie. I don't think the writing is great, but the practical effects are cool. All of that stuff is amazing. Bruce Campbell is super funny.
So the difference between this one and Army of Darkness is Bruce Campbell doesn't really talk in this movie. Like, a majority of the lines that are spoken in this movie are spoken by other characters. He doesn't really talk much. In fact, I think the most he talks is literally at the end of the movie.
No, absolutely.
And that was like one of the main issues with this one for me, is because it didn't feel quite like Bruce Campbell. Like, this one definitely plays more into the slapstick humor than anything else.
Absolutely.
Whereas when you look at Army of Darkness, it's slapstick humor, but it's also, comedy, just making jokes and saying witty one-liners. Whereas this one didn't have that. Like I said, the only quotable moment was when he says groovy at the end.
That's when he attaches the chainsaw for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, towards the end of the movie.
So fucking badass.
No, it is. And that's why I really like that word. Just that phrase, just like groovy.
Groovy.
But I didn't like the fact that he didn't talk much because this is like the first time that we really see Ash,
Yeah,
because I think he talks more in the first one,
he does.
but this one relied more on slapstick. So you have some of the best interactions with like the hand, the every inanimate object in the living room coming to life and laughing.
Awesome.
And you have those really awesome shots because of it too. Even the 360 when he's scoping it out after he's been hit, and you have him flying through the air at the beginning of the movie when he first gets hit by it, stuff like that. And even when he's sawing off his hand,
Yeah,
they take like a super morbid concept
and make it funny.
and make it funny.
Well, it's the same when dude, I want to say, was it Jake that got dragged down to the basement, and you can see like half of his body is in there, and it's just the fountain of blood shooting out.
Yes, that was really good.
That scene reminded me very, very much of Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny Depp's kill with the blood bed.
Oh yeah, just not as brutal because it was an off color. Like I want to talk about the blood.
Right. So in this, it's like almost crimson red instead of like dark red, which is what color blood actually is.
Right.
And I don't know. I think that's great. I think that makes it funnier. Like, I think that because of the fact that it's clearly not real blood makes it to where this is more of a comical movie.
Well, it also looks like water.
I mean,
Like-
consistency wise.
Yeah, in that scene specifically,
Yeah.
it looked like water with food coloring in it more than anything.
I agree.
Which is probably how they got the effects, because I know that like fake blood is kind of expensive when you use as much as they did. I mean,
I wonder how much like Saw and stuff spent on fake blood.
not as much as Evil Dead, because I'm pretty confident the remake of Evil Dead holds the record.
That's 2013, right?
Yeah, the 2013 one. I want to say that it was like 800,000 gallons or something.
That's pretty impressive.
Like they used a shit ton. And the reason that it holds the record, like literally the only reason, is the ending raining blood scene.
That makes sense.
That's why it holds the record. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't. But I mean, the amount of blood that's used in this one is over the top and ridiculous, and it really sets a tone moving forward for what Evil Dead is going to be.
Right. Well,
And that's what I appreciate about this movie.
so this is just like a hot take,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like part of the reason why a majority of the majority of the opposition in Army of Darkness, the reason they're skeletons and stuff, is so they don't have to use as much blood or the fake blood
Right.
because of how over the top Evil Dead 2 was. I feel like that's the reason why they made it to where there was less of like the black goo monsters,
Mm-hmm.
where they get stabbed and they spray 30 gallons of black goo all over Bruce Campbell and the set.
Well, yeah, because like Bruce Campbell was drenched every single day.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, he was thrown in something. I think like almost every single day, whether it be fake blood or the puddle of water.
Dude, the puddle of water at the beginning of the movie, I thought it was supposed to be like bloody water. I guess now it's muddy water,
Yeah, it's muddy water.
but I thought it was supposed to be bloody water when the scene first started. Even rewatching it after not having seen it in probably like 10 years,
Really?
I was like, I don't remember that being him landing in a pool of blood. And then when he like sat up, I was like, oh wait, never mind, I'm stupid.
You're like, oh wait, forgot about that one.
Yeah.
That's not what that is.
Yeah. But I was super confused initially because I was like, he doesn't land in a pool of blood.
And so what scenes do you specifically want to talk about?
So one of my favorite scenes is the dancing headless Linda.
The whole claymation one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was just awesomely done. There's not really a lot of need to talk about it because you already talked about the awesome claymation. But just her dancing around like that was super unsettling, especially because of the claymation. Like, I would argue that that's one of the funniest and also probably the scariest scene in this, in Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, claymation does do that.
Uncanny Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that the scene itself wasn't too scary, but I think that scariness came when Linda's character, no longer claymation, just pops up as a jump scare.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. That was pretty cool.
That was cool. I thought that it was funny when her head bites his hand, which is how he gets his hand infected, and he's just running around banging her on literally everything
Yeah.
to try to get her off. I thought that was funny.
So one funny line from this, I know that we were talking about like how the only quote you can remember
Was groovy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I actually have another quote written down, and it's when he's talking to himself in the mirror when his hand gets possessed,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "We just cut up our girlfriend with a chainsaw. Does that sound fine?" And
Oh yeah.
that shit made me laugh because
remember
he's like
that.
talking to himself in the mirror, and the mirror's got like a different facial expression and is talking back.
Right.
Like, I thought that was awesome. To me, it's an early version of Evil Ash.
Yes, I would say that's an early version of Evil Ash, and like the way that they played around with it. I guess testing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like one of the like test runs to see if the concept would work.
Well, because that's what like Evil Ash was the hand.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, and that was one thing that I did like because I think the hand makes the movie.
Oh yeah. It's just really funny, and I don't know that if it was done before this because I know Idle Hand
Mm-hmm.
has like a similar like concept or whatever, a possessed hand that does address it. But I feel like, or this obviously came first, and I don't know. I just thought it was pretty good.
I mean, the first thing that I could think of with like a hand in it would be the Addams Family.
I mean, but that's not a spooky ass hand. That's just like
That was a spooky ass hand.
no, it's just doing its thing, bro.
But in the 1950s or whatever, it was a spooky ass hand.
Was the Addams Family supposed to be spooky in the 50s, or was it just supposed to be like offbeat and funny?
I think it's supposed to be creepy and kooky, mysterious and spooky.
Oh, is that
They're
the
all-
opening lines?
Yeah, they're all together ooky. The Addams Family. Da-na-na-na. Yeah, I didn't think I remember that, but I did.
If we were monetized, we would now be demonetized for that. Thanks.
Yeah, 100%. But sorry about that. This is in no way sponsored by the Addams Family. We have no affiliation with the Addams Family, and anybody that owns the rights to the Addams Family, if you're out there listening, please forgive us and do not sue us.
Yeah, we literally don't have any money to take.
Yeah, we literally don't. You're just suing two broke idiots.
Yeah, we only have one podcast between us.
Yeah, not like multiple ones. So I do want to talk about the scene where he's trying to figure out where the chainsaw is, and then Linda's corpse just comes in with the chainsaw, headless, while the head's in a vice. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, the whole white outline from where the chainsaw is supposed to be on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of I know we shouldn't bring video games up because apparently we talk about them too often.
Yeah, and
But
if you're one of our viewers that does not like video games and does not care about video games, I wholeheartedly apologize for what we are about to say.
But it reminded me of pretty much every video game with like unlockable weapons on the wall where you can just see the white outline.
So specifically zombies.
Well,
Call of Duty Zombies is what I thought you were going with it.
So Call of Duty Zombies, also Grand Theft Auto does it, Hitman does it. Like there are a bunch of games that has like the white outline where weapons are supposed to be on walls.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw it, that's immediately what I thought of, and it's super funny that she showed in with the already looted chainsaw.
Chainsaw. No, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. The other thing that I really like about this movie is when he is being pushed down into the basement with Henrietta.
When the architect, the historian's daughter, and her party arrives.
Yeah, which consists of her boyfriend, a tow truck guy and his girlfriend.
Which the tow truck guy is Jake.
Yeah, from State Farm.
Yeah.
Just kidding, State Farm. We are in no way affiliated with State Farm. And State Farm, if you're out there listening, please do not sue us.
So are you talking about when they kick him down the stairs and he like breaks stairs falling?
Yeah, because it was so over the top, and it's like the steps are not that big. No. Because the reason they throw him down there is because he basically tries to shoot them when they knock on the door.
Well, he ends up hitting one of them in the shoulder.
He hits Jake's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Betty Lou.
Something like that. Bobby
Jean.
Yeah. Something like that.
I think it's Bobby Jean. Hits Bobby Jean in the shoulder, which causes them to like knock him out and start wailing on him. And then when the architect's daughter walks in and sees the axe, or no, the chainsaw with blood on it because he cut off his possessed hand,
she immediately thinks he murdered her family.
Yeah, that was like our first conclusion she jumped to was, you killed my whole family because they're not here.
And then listens to the recording and she's just like, fuck.
I can't believe it. Dad killed Mom? What? And then buried her in the cellar? And that's when, Henriette pops up and is like, welcome to the party, bitches.
So they refer to it as a fruit cellar multiple times?
Yes.
And it gave me Psycho vibes when she was talking about who would come down into my fruit cellar. It very, very much reminded me of Psycho when Arbogast, which is the detective, comes and Norma Bates is down there and kills him and talks about her fruit cellar. I don't know, the way the scene was shot reminded me super a lot of the first Psycho, and the fact that they refer to it as a fruit cellar like 3 times in 5 minutes. I don't know.
Okay.
Tangent. It's a tangent, but
That's okay.
I feel like that scene took inspiration from Psycho, at least to an extent. Could be totally wrong.
No, I can see that. It's a very valid point. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of the inspirations for this movie.
No, I wouldn't either.
Because, it's pretty inspirational for, like, a lot of things, but... main influence was Three Stooges more than anything.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think that it's, like... I think that specific scene probably took inspiration from Psycho.
Right.
Just that one specific scene.
So, I know they say that it's a fruit cellar, but I never got that vibe when he was down there at all.
That's why I think it was supposed to be a reference to Psycho.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Had it appeared to be like a legitimate fruit cellar, I would be like, no. But because, of the way it was shot and the adjectives they used to describe it, I was like, oh, this reminds me a lot of Psycho.
Some of the best scenes are in there, though.
Absolutely.
But I like when he gets his chainsaw hand.
That's just super badass. And I don't know, like the way Ash is painted in this movie is really cool because it just paints him as like a stoic badass.
Well, even the ending where he is, because the first reference to the ending is when they're looking through the pages, and you see he basically sees himself with a chainsaw for a hand and a shotgun, and he is the liberator from 1300 who saved all the people. He's the man from the sky.
Yeah.
So it's foreshadowing Army of Darkness. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
But the way that he is portrayed, this one definitely is a stoic badass. I would agree with that because he cuts his hand off in a psychotic manner and then tries to kill his own possessed hand. Makes a contraption that I don't understand how the chainsaw operates because it doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean?
How does it work?
I don't know what you're asking.
So you know how when you are holding a chainsaw, you have to press a button to get it to do the thing on the handle.
Yeah, that checks out.
Okay. How does he operate the chainsaw? Because it's not like it's on all the time. Because he pulls it, right? And he makes the thing to where he pulls, like he can just put the pull in there and then just do it, which makes sense. That starts it up.
Like set up in his armpit to where he holds it with his armpit and pulls his arm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. Chainsaw is started. How do you make the chainsaw go?
So I don't know, and I don't think it's explained.
No, it's not.
I just think it's one of those things that you're not supposed to think about.
You're right. I will suspend my disbelief.
No, that's what you have to do, especially in a movie like this. Like, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. How come everyone else immediately gets like fucked up by the Deadites, can't overpower them, can't defend themselves really, and he just like mows through them like they're nothing most of the time?
Because it's prophesized.
Well, because it's a way to move the narrative forward.
Oh, it's character story driven.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that's why he's a badass.
Yeah, exactly. It's don't think about it.
Don't think about it, and it makes sense.
Just like, where does he keep all the shotgun shells, and how does he have like basically unlimited ammo?
Oh, we'll talk about that in Army of Darkness. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and really enjoyed the movie for what it was with that.
It's fucking awesome.
Like,
I think that
it's over the top, and that's why it's awesome.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Evil Dead 2, you need to watch it. There's nothing we could say that would spoil it, because
No.
the story isn't important. It's the way the story makes you feel.
So the only important aspect of the story, because it directly, so the only important aspects of the story, because they directly tie into Army of Darkness, are the fact that he is the person that is depicted in the book as like the savior,
Yeah.
which you can tell when he puts the chainsaw on his hand, and the fact that they manifest the evil into a being using the ancient Sumerian texts
Yep.
that tell you what to say in order to conjure it up, and then basically open up a fucking wormhole to send him back to the past.
See, that's something that kind of confused me.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Because it starts with them manifesting him and putting him back into his time period or whatever, it starts the loop over again.
So see, in my mind, they didn't send the Dark One or whatever we're calling the evil entity back to the past. Like, I thought they were trying to send it back to its like reality.
Well, yeah, that would make sense because he doesn't. Well, no, I don't know. There are some things that get sucked into the wormhole that don't appear in the past.
Right. So that's why I think that it sends the evil entity back to its own reality.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like when Bruce Campbell and his car gets sucked through, it takes him to the past instead of where it took the other entity. Because regardless of whether or not the ending of 2 is canon or the beginning of Army of Darkness, because they differ,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of which one's canon, and neither one does the demon entity thing that was trying to get Bruce Campbell arrive first. Like, when he gets there, it's not there.
Right.
Which leads me to believe that it was sent elsewhere. And that's just where he got dropped for some reason by the wormhole.
Yeah, no, I can see it. It appears to be unstable
Yeah, exactly.
more than anything. So I can definitely see that one. Was there anything else you want to talk about in Evil Dead 2? Because like it's got some good scenes, but there's not really anything to talk about besides the overly over the top scenes that have very high comical value.
No, the only thing that I have written that we didn't talk about that I thought was like really, really funny that I think we should talk about is the ending with the knights and shit.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get to that
Yeah.
because we have to talk about that because it is. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
But that's the only other thing for Evil Dead 2 I have that we haven't already talked about and is relevant moving forward.
Well, because of the ending when he goes and gets dropped off with his car, and this is the car that's featured in every Sam Raimi movie.
Every early Sam Raimi movie.
It was literally featured in Doctor Strange.
All of them? Or the newest one?
Yes.
I don't think it's been in every Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, that's like his thing.
No, I recognize what you're saying, but there's a movie that Sam Raimi did, and I think it has River in the title, and it does not have his car in it.
I'm gonna Google it. Keep talking.
Okay, you can Google it. But no, I was doing research for the movie last night, and obviously I saw the car thing.
Right.
One of the videos that I was watching, it talked about the car thing, and it said, I want to say it was something River.
Well, so the car is an Oldsmobile Delta 88,
Yes.
which has been featured in. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Evil Dead 1982.
Wait, if it's an 88 Oldsmobile, how is it?
Well, no, it's the 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88.
So it's an 88.
No, it's a 1973 Oldsmobile. No,
Continue,
anyway.
I'm sorry.
In Evil Dead,
Yeah.
Crime Wave,
Okay.
Evil Dead 2,
I'm here for it.
Dark Man,
Makes sense.
Army of Darkness,
Naturally.
The Quick and the Dead,
As you say.
A Simple Plan,
Naturally.
For Love of the Game,
To be expected.
The Gift.
This is known.
Every fucking Spider-Man movie,
No, you don't say.
because Uncle Ben's car. Drag Me to Hell. I remember seeing it in that one.
Me too.
Oz the Great and Powerful.
I haven't seen.
I haven't even seen it either, but like it's in there. And it was also in, like it's not on this list, but it was in
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness.
I don't know. Like I said, in one of the videos I watched yesterday when I was doing research for this, they said that there were like 2 or 3 movies it wasn't in, which could be wrong. I know that one of them was something River or the Hidden River or River something, but it doesn't really matter. But it is a trope for Sam Raimi to have his vehicle in, or that specific Oldsmobile in the movie.
Yeah, it's like the Pizza Planet truck in every Pixar movie.
Yeah. Or like Stan Lee and
Every Marvel movie.
up until his death.
Yeah, he's not in any of them now, but that's because he like died. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I like that car. But anyway, that comes through, and a bunch of knights are basically about to, fuck his shit up, and then all of a sudden, a demon flies in, Deadite demon, and the knights get freaked out, but being the badass that he is, while they're all freaking out and running like little pussies, Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town pulls out a sawed-off shotgun and just blasts him. And that's when all of the knights basically look at him and then say, he's the one who vanquished the evil, and then get down on one knee to like bow and worship him, and he doesn't want any of that.
And then it's retconned immediately.
In our next movie that we're talking about, Army of Darkness.
It's retconned immediately.
Yeah, no, it's super retconned. Because in that movie, the difference is he becomes a slave, pretty much.
Right, one of Henry the Red's slaves, right? Or a slave with Henry the Red.
No, he's one of the slaves of King Arthur, who has been taken prisoner. He's like a prisoner slave, basically, because they associate him with Henry the Red. Because in this version, he does not do the cool badass thing that gets all the knights to worship him.
Yeah.
Until later. He basically gets the shit beat out of him. His chainsaw hand gets taken away from him, and then he's put in restraints and is led to the pit.
Right.
So, is there anything that you want to talk about? Because you're looking at me like
I
you just
spend
like,
the whole
right.
podcast looking at you.
Yeah, I know. It creeps me out.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Should I look elsewhere?
Yeah, look down when you talk to me. Not to the side. People won't be able to hear you.
See, I feel like when I look over here, you can't really hear me.
You're not wrong. You can look at me. That's fine.
But no, I had nothing to say. Yes, the beginning was retcon, or the ending of 2 was retconned by the beginning of Army of Darkness.
Yeah, because even when he explains it, he does a recap of it, so technically you don't have to watch Evil Dead 2. Because I never watched Evil Dead 2 before I watched Army of Darkness. Like, I didn't discover that this was actually a movie until much later.
Yeah, I saw Army of Darkness first.
Yeah. And because of that, he does a really good job of explaining basically the whole movie, which has different actors in it and looks completely different, except for one scene, which is when he gets sucked through the time portal to be transported back.
So I'm pretty sure the reason that it was retconned is because of storytelling elements.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why most of the original scenes from 2 weren't used is because it was a different studio.
Right.
Which I know you know. I'm saying it for the listeners, sir.
No, I'm just acknowledging what you're saying by saying right.
Right.
So, yeah, see, we need to work on our communication, Bailey.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, I'm not really sure. I know why they did, but it doesn't matter because I don't think they should have. They should have just used footage. They should have got the rights to it, used footage, made the world go around.
Yeah, the way they handled it was fine.
No, they handled it. It was just weird. Fine. Yeah, no, it was definitely weird. And going back and watching it, it made me kind of uncomfortable.
I was confused the first time that I watched both of them because,
Mhm.
like I said, just like you, I thought Army of Darkness was a standalone movie for a long time.
Because it could be.
Well, that's intentional.
Right.
That's so they played around with a couple different titles for this.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be Evil Dead 3, obviously,
Right.
and then it was going to be Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness, and then it was going to be Army of Darkness, and then it was going to be Medieval Dead. And when
Medieval Dead I like the most.
Medieval Dead is what it should have been.
Yeah, it should have been Medieval Dead.
But did you know that when it was originally released in the UK, it released under the title Army of Darkness Medieval Dead?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that's was the original title in the UK. And did you know that the original American theatrical version is different than the original European version?
That one I did know.
Did you know that there are 4 different versions of this movie in existence?
That one I did know as well.
Okay.
No,
That's all I got.
But go ahead. Tell me the 4 different versions.
Well, there's the TV version.
Right.
There's the American theatrical version, the European version, or also referred to as the European theatrical version,
Mm-hmm.
and then the director's cut.
And what
And-
are the differences?
I don't know all of the differences, but I know the most complete version is the TV version,
Yes.
and that's because it has like 7 extra minutes of content to the theatrical version for the US.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I
Because I
wanna-
remember watching. So I bought this on DVD before I sold it for some weird reason. Because I had to rent it off of Amazon. But I remember the first time that I watched it, there were scenes. I can't remember the specific scenes that were in the TV version because, like I said, Comedy Central is where I watched this repeatedly.
right.
So I was aware of things, and when certain scenes didn't happen, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, so the version that I watched last night is not the version that I've watched before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would imagine it's probably the TV version,
Probably.
but I know that I've seen this movie a lot on, like, I don't know if it was like HBO or it might have been Comedy Central. I don't know what it was, but I saw it on TV a lot, like in middle school and high school.
Probably Comedy Central because I know for a while there they were playing it like
Once or twice a month.
once or twice a month. They really got down and dirty with it around Halloween.
Yeah. Well, it's they did that like around the same time that G4 was doing like Toxic Avenger and stuff.
Okay, that makes
Because-
sense.
Because I remember I was probably in like, I don't know, probably like 4th or 5th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and I was up late, and I would literally watch Toxic Avenger and this movie back to back because they played on different channels at the same time of night.
Right.
And that happened more than once. I don't know how many times it happened, but it happened more than once for sure.
Yeah. No, the reason I've seen this movie so much is because of Comedy Central doing shit like that.
Yeah.
But so this movie, Ash talks a lot more, and there's a lot more quotable moments from it. So I know that you wanted to ask me a question about him. So go ahead and ask your question.
Well, no. Before we do any of that, I think that we should give our scores for this. Did we do that?
Yeah, we already did that.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we did that.
Okay.
We did it at the same time that we gave Evil Dead 2.
Did we? See,
Yeah, we did both
for
of them.
some reason, I thought we were gonna hold off. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I have short-term memory problems apparently.
We literally did that episode last week.
Oh, this isn't Memento?
This isn't Memento.
Oh, that's wild. So my favorite quote from Army of Darkness, believe it or not, is "Your shoelace is untied. Punch."
That one was really good.
I know that there are a lot of other good quotes, like the boomstick quote.
The
But-
boomstick quote was my favorite for a long time.
So that's what I was going to ask earlier, is what your favorite Army of Darkness quote is, since it's significantly more quotable.
Come get some groovy Yoshi bitch. Honey, you got real ugly. What is it? What does he says? Well, that's just pillow talk.
Yeah, that was funny.
Hail to the king, baby. I like that a lot too. This is my boomstick. Who wants some? Do you want some? That one's pretty good. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Shop smart. Shop S smart.
So I feel like you just did every line in the movie that Ash speaks. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
dude. Yeah, because The difference between this movie, like I said, and Evil Dead 2 is Ash talks, and when Ash talks, he makes a lot of quotable shit.
Well, pretty much everything Ash says in this is a catchy one-liner.
Yeah, like you're going, buckle up, bonehead. You're going for a ride.
Yeah.
Like, and I can when I say that, I know exactly what scene I'm referring to.
I can see it in my mind as you say it.
Yeah, like that's what I love about this movie.
But I mean, I don't know. I still think that the best quote is "Your shoelace is untied." Punch.
No, that was pretty good.
It was even in the trailer, and normally I don't like things that are in the trailer.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh, we know you bitch about it every time.
well, yeah, that's because trailers ruin movies. But I will say the trailer for
Put that on a T-shirt. Trailers ruin movies.
they do, especially. Never mind. I'm not gonna make a trailer park joke. But yeah, no, that's one thing I will say about both of these movies is the trailers don't take away from the movie at all. Even though my favorite quote is in Army of Darkness's trailer,
Mm-hmm.
it was just as funny watching it in the episode or in the movie itself.
Yeah, no, like it's funny and has a lot of really funny moments. I would say more funny than Evil Dead 2.
Wrong. I disagree.
Yeah, right. Well, we know why you disagree.
Because the slapstick is there, and they try to focus on a story in Army of Darkness, and there doesn't need to be a story.
No, there does because it was good.
I
With
mean,
Evil Ash, you know.
no, Evil Ash is a cool character, but I don't know. In my opinion, they didn't need to have a story. The only character they needed was Bruce Campbell, and the whole movie could have been him fighting with his miniature Bruce Campbells until he gets Evil Ash.
So that's my favorite. So my actual favorite scene is Sally Fart.
Yeah.
Sally Fart. Sally Farth.
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene in the whole movie, I would say, because that's the one that I remember more than anything. But my second favorite scene is probably Mini Ash.
No, the mini ashes are my favorite scene. Like, that is so fucking badass. Like,
Yeah. So for those of you that have not seen this movie, basically to catch you up to speed at this point, he has been drugged to a pit, fought off two deadites using his chainsaw hand and his boomstick, scared a bunch of people into submission. Then he has a magical shotgun that for some weird reason shoots infinite bullets.
I don't think it's a magical shotgun.
No, it is, because it is a double-barrel sawed-off shotgun, and the scene that I'm directly referencing is when he is getting fed by all the women.
And he shoots it 3 times,
4 times
without reloading.
4 times.
Is it 4? I thought it
4,
was...
I fucking counted.
So-
It's boom, boom. Should have reloaded, did not. Because he shoots it off 3 times and then reloads, and then shoots it off 4 more times before he finally does it. Which was funny. But yeah, he shoots it 4 times, which he should have shot it 3 times because it's not how a double-barrel sawed-off shotgun works. And you could make the argument that, well, maybe he reloaded in one of the cuts. Cool, don't care. It's a magical shotgun that shoots an infinite amount of ammo.
Well, so see, one thing that I was thinking, especially later on in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that at first it appears magical because of like the bullets and stuff, and where did he carry them?
Right.
But later on, when he pulls the chemistry book out of his trunk, which I also just want to point out that in the background was a Fangoria magazine. Did you catch that?
No, I did not catch that.
So when he opens the trunk, apparently, during my research, I found that everything in there was just like Sam Raimi's shit. It wasn't like product placement or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But in the background, you can see like a perfect Fangoria magazine, and I thought that was fun.
So I don't know what Fangoria is.
You don't know what Fangoria is?
No,
It's or Fangoria.
I have no idea what that is.
It's you really?
No, I really don't know what it is.
It's a horror magazine that's been a popular horror magazine for at least like 30 years.
Oh yeah, I know. I had no idea.
Are you fucking with me? I feel like
No.
you have to be fucking with
No,
me.
dude, I'm being serious. I did not know that Fangoria was a thing.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's weird. But
Okay.
no, I thought that was cool.
No, I mean, if I had have known that was a thing, I would have said it was cool.
Okay.
No, I will say, when he is basically using his infinite shotgun, one of the funny scenes in that one is when he goes to touch her, and he grabs his hand and goes, "It's a trap. Grab an axe." It's
Yeah,
like, oh, you learned.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good. So basically, all that happens, and then he has to go get the Necronomicon, because that's the only way to send him home and to like, fix all this shit. So he goes to do it, and apparently I've been saying the words wrong.
I wasn't going to tell anybody.
No, it's okay. I've been saying it wrong. I'll admit it because Ash says I'm wrong, and that's what causes all this shit. So I understand where Ash is coming from. So it's Klaatu, Barata, Nikto. Is that correct?
Not necktie.
Not necktie.
Not
Nickel.
Not Vakta or whatever.
Huh?
Or Bhakta.
But
Never mind.
But what are you talking
What
about?
was your original? What did you originally think it was?
Klaatu Verata.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not Barata Verata.
Yeah.
You can see how those got confused, but yeah, that's what I thought it was. I'm a man that admits his mistakes, and I made a mistake, just like Ash does when he can't say the words and then releases the book. But can we talk about like with the books? Like that scene was funny as shit.
Yeah. No. So my favorite.
Oh man, hold on, I hate to cut you off. I just remembered my favorite line from this whole one is actually not that. It is good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun. That's my favorite line. Just remember that. Sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
that's an awesome quote. But no, the thing that I thought was really funny about the book scene is he grabs the wrong one first, and he looked really funny elongated.
Oh yeah, with the prosthetics that they use. Those prosthetics are great.
They're super phenomenal. Like they did a really good job. But what's funny is after that, he reaches for the top one, and then you can see he doesn't even have to do it out loud. You can see by the look on his face and like his movements and facial expressions and body language that he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick this one. And he's like, oh wait, no, never mind. That's too easy. It's got to be this other one.
Yeah,
And
they're
the
tricking me.
internal conflict that he displays there is fucking hilarious.
Just to pick the wrong book and get bit.
I like stuff like that is why I think Bruce Campbell's like a really underrated actor because he's so good in this.
Well, and that's what, like, yeah, he's quotable, and I think this movie kind of set the tone for, like, what Bruce Campbell does moving forward. But even when he was Ash in Evil Dead 2 and not talking much,
He did so good.
yeah, because he was able to convey whatever he wanted to say through his body language.
Body language, facial expressions.
Yeah, everything. And he does the same thing in this one, but he also says witty one-liners.
Yeah, like Bruce Campbell does an amazing job.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell's literally the GOAT. Anybody that disagrees can go fuck themselves.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would give him GOAT status,
He's the GOAT.
but he's definitely awesome. He does a really good job.
But no, that whole scene, even when he's elongated and trying to shake himself out, when he's having that internal conflict, like you said, only to pick the wrong book and then go, Klaatu, Barata.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll take it. Nothing happened. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. And then he takes it and everything starts to like fall apart.
everything goes to shit like immediately, and he goes, "Oh, come on, I said the words." I think the funniest thing in that whole movie is, did you say the words? Well, yeah, I said the word, like kinda.
Maybe one syllable off.
Well, yeah, but I said them. So
I thought it was really funny after he picked up the book and it shows like the flash to the kingdom and the dude outside gets struck by lightning.
oh yeah,
He just gets like fucking flung across the like ground or whatever.
it has that like scream.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's funny.
That was funny.
And I was like, comedy.
Well, because this is how evil Ash. Because basically, when he was going to it, he gets attacked by the little
Miniatures.
mini Ashes, which was funny as shit. You want to talk about that one since this is like your favorite scene?
I mean, I don't have anything super specific to say about it other than the fact that the mini Ashes looked really good and you could like clearly see their metal hand. They were wearing like the same outfit
Mm-hmm.
and it was just done really well. And they were so funny because it was like the Ash voice, but just really high pitched.
Full speed.
Yeah. And they're just like talking shit, being basically Bruce Campbell, but tiny with high pitched voices. And they steal his gun and they just fuck him up. And then one of them gets basically dives down his throat.
Yes, to get inside of him.
And the thing that's really funny about that is tries to make himself throw up, doesn't work, and then randomly he finds a pot of boiling liquid, which turns out to be water.
And just drinks it.
Yeah, just pours boiling water down his throat, hoping to fucking fuck this little miniature out. And then the best body horror in the whole series, in my opinion,
Is
When
when
he-
he starts itching.
Yeah, when Evil Ashes, or when the eye is in his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's based off of a short story. That the Evil Ash metamorphosis from the eye in his shoulder is basically um, the same as a short story about a werewolf that the same thing happens to.
Okay.
And it's literally where Sam Raimi got the idea for it. But the scene where the eye pops up and starts coming out, in my opinion, is the most body horror-esque scene in the whole Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. Not Evil Dead 1, because...
You were struggling there for a second, but
Yeah, no, I know. I was having, like, severe brain fart.
yeah, I was letting you just finish it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I agree. I think that's probably the best example of body horror. And then when he ends up becoming evil Ash, like starts growing a second head and then starts beating the shit out of himself. So you have one half of the body hitting the other half.
Yeah.
It's also very obvious that there's a dummy attached to him
Yeah.
if you watch it.
I mean, it doesn't look super good, especially the more out of him it becomes.
But it's funny.
But yeah, exactly. It's funny, and it's done well enough that you can tell that it's supposed to be funny.
You're good, Ash, and I'm evil Ash.
Goody two shoes.
Goody two shoes. Goody two. Oh, you hit it like just when I said goody two shoes, like he does in the movie. That scene was funny.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really good.
But that's when he like puts the gun up to him and says, you know, like blows his head off and goes, good, bad.
Well,
I'm the guy with the gun.
So the thing that one of the other things that bothers me is that close with a shotgun, it would have blown his head off. Like,
no, yeah, it didn't do the exact damage that it should have.
yeah, the shotgun in this wasn't very effective, which makes sense after he gets the chemistry book from his car and potentially crafts new shells with whatever materials they have, minerals and stuff that he uses to make the bombs for the attacks.
Which they would have had back then, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when he makes, like, that would be my assumption as to why he has shotgun ammo the whole time, is because he's able to make more shotgun shells with the materials they have. And it would make sense if that scene had happened prior to this, but in this scene it's assumed that he's still using regular shotgun shells. And Evil Ash would have he would have been Evil Headless Ash. It would have been like Linda from the first one if he got shot point blank in the dome with a fucking shotty.
Well, yeah, but it wouldn't have made for a good. How could he kiss Sheila?
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. He also has to hold his jaw in place when he becomes Evil Ash. Because, you know, the graveyard gets fucked up, and then the skeleton scene that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Where he gets, like, tripped and then poked in the eye and his mouth. Like, that was a really good one.
Yeah, that was super funny. But that's also the quote that you were talking about with his with Evil Ash's mouth sewn shut.
Yeah, the Sally Farr. Yeah. Well, it's not sewn shut.
It's tied
held
shut
in
with a
place.
rope.
His helmet is what it is.
Well, I mean, it looks like the rope isn't attached to the helmet. It's just like an additional thing to keep his jaw from falling off. Unless I missaw
Which
or
I could have
misinterpreted what I
missaw
was
it.
seeing.
Well, I could have missaw it, but it looks like it was attached to his helmet. Like it was tied to his helmet as like the chin strap piece. And it was literally the chin strap. So there was that. But yeah, she gets like fucked up, and then, you know, he teaches him how to fight, makes some chemistry, turns the Delta into a fucking killing machine. I don't know how he got gasoline.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, suspend your disbelief.
Yeah. Well, it's just like how he got it running after it fell from the sky from the wormhole. Like
how he did anything with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think that I feel like if a car fell straight down 20 feet when it was already a piece of shit,
it would have destroyed it.
Yeah, because my car was in the shop for almost 2 months because I hit a fucking pothole. You know what I'm saying, dog?
Well, that was because they were trying to fuck you, but that's not the point.
Yeah, irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, I have another question, and it's right around this time that it happened.
Okay.
So he makes a quote that that the people are crazier than Chinese jet pilots. So
yes.
My question is, do you think that was a reference to kamikazes because they were Japanese?
I think it was, and he was just saying it wrong.
Oh, okay.
Because I do think that it was a kamikaze reference.
That's what I thought too, but I wanted to ask you because I didn't know if there were, quote unquote crazy Chinese jet pilots that I was just unaware of.
Yeah, nothing I'm aware of. They're no Japanese.
Yeah, with the that's what I thought it was, but I wanted to ask you because I know you're generally more spun up on stuff like that than I am.
I'm more spun up on like war shit. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Are
no,
you saying
I'm
that I study war? I'm like, Sun
no,
Tzu.
no, I'm just saying that you're generally like more knowledgeable about like obscure references in movies because I was unsure what was being referenced and I just wanted to verify that it was kamikazes like I thought.
I
Instead of something
guess.
else. I don't know. I was just asking.
Okay, well, I appreciate the compliment.
Shit, Taylor. I'm sorry.
Nah, dog, you're good. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, home slice.
What do you have next?
I mean, I liked the skeletons. They were funny.
Yeah.
When they were digging everybody up, even when they were marching, and the flute playing one.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty funny. The whole everything with the skeletons leading up to it was funny. Even the skeletons being basically blown up was funny as shit.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know how they did the claymation.
Yeah, I don't know either on that one.
Like, I don't know if they did like stop motion or what for like the actual skeleton army moving.
It almost looked like, so some of them were actual actors, you can tell,
Yeah.
that were dressed up, and then some of them looked like they were on a, like, I don't know how to describe it, like a
almost puppeted.
almost puppeted on a device that had wheels, like it'd be like an electronic car or something, because their jaws like dropped, so it looked like they were animatronic almost.
Yeah, it was really weird, but it looked so cool. And I watched the scene. I don't know if you remember when they had like the wooden walls they were using as arrow blockers pushing forward.
Yeah.
So I watched that scene probably 3 or 4 times last night.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd run it back and watch it again to watch the background characters. And some of those background characters are clearly like the animatronic skeletons or the claymation skeletons or however they did it.
Right.
But some of them, especially the ones behind the wooden walls, you can tell they're like just regular people in like costumes pushing them.
Yeah, especially when they get blown up.
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought that was cool.
I thought that was too.
Like, especially the fact that they had like what appeared to me to be a couple different mediums going on, because they had some that was like, the animatronic skeletons or however they were done.
Well, it was the States of Decay.
States of Decay. Well, yeah. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, it is because the others were guys in costumes.
Yeah, because they had more meat on them, and that's why you can get away with that. That's
Yeah.
what I thought you were referencing with the different styles.
So I'm talking about that too, but I'm also talking about like some of it's like makeup, some of it's prosthetics, and I'm just talking about like the different like accessories they use to customize people, I guess. I don't know the words. But I thought it was really cool and fun, and I thought it was really well done. Bruce Campbell didn't like playing Evil Ash during Army of Darkness because it took about 3 hours to get all of his makeup and stuff on. I don't know if you were tracking that.
I thought it was cool. I really liked that. You can definitely tell that the budget went up on this one.
Oh yeah,
Like a lot.
absolutely.
So the budget went up on this one. There were a lot more explosions, which I really liked, which set things over the top.
Right.
And that was really cool. On top of that, I think the final fight between Ash and Evil Ash was really cool. I enjoyed watching that. I would say for the most part of the ending battle scene where they stormed the castle was pretty fun. There's not really much to talk about except for that one skeleton that was crawling towards him, fixing to slice his ankles, going, "I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Where'd you go? Where'd you go?" That was funny.
Yeah. So did you know during that scene or that series of scenes almost made the actress who played Sheila stop acting?
Really?
Yeah, because she couldn't see in the prosthetics that she was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And because she couldn't see, like, I guess the final battle was really hard for her to do.
I can see that.
She was so frustrated, she almost stopped acting. And during the battle scene, the actor who played King Arthur had severe food poisoning.
Oh, that would explain a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
That would explain that.
That's why I don't definitively know, but it is rumored based on like one of the videos I watched that the reason why he's got more voice lines and is more actively or plays more of an active role at the beginning of the film but at the end of the film in like the battle scene, he's barely utilized, is because he was sick when they were filming it.
Okay.
Is what the video suggested. I don't know if they have evidence of that or if it's just their assumption.
Well, he wasn't really featured in most of the movie.
Well,
Like Henry the Red was featured more than he was, and you could say it was the food poisoning, or you could say that I don't know, his character wasn't really the greatest in the world.
no, I mean I agree with that.
Like Henry the Red had a much better character than King Arthur.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, the final battle scene was good. I liked it a lot.
absolutely.
Buckle up, Bonehead, going for a ride. It's probably the best part of that. And then we get to like the ending. If there was anything in the battle you wanted to talk about.
Not specifically. One thing I did want to talk about that I don't know how I missed to this point is I really liked the original S-Mart Boomstick speech where he talks about, how it's the type,
Remington shot off wood. The wood cherry stock
yeah,
retails for
$108.99.
$108.99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny because it was just like a sales pitch.
Yeah, no, it's funny as shit.
Yeah.
But he calls them like primitive people.
Yeah.
But no, that one was good.
And the reason that it's relevant now is because after all of this, the battle ends, and he gets, in the version I watched, he gets offered kinghood, and he's like, "Nah, fuck that, send me home."
Yes, because he says he can't stay.
Yeah, and then he is telling the story to a random
Who does not care.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck ever, bro.
Which I think that was Ted Raimi.
It was.
Is who he was talking to.
Ted Raimi played 3 different roles in this movie.
Ted Raimi plays 3 different roles in like every movie.
So, do you know all the roles?
No.
So he played the clerk at the end.
Right.
During the scene where King Arthur's like, "Nah, fuck this, me and my men are retreating," and Ash is like giving the motivational speech.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy on the far left of that, who's like, "And you have my steel."
Oh, yeah, okay, I knew that one.
That's Ted Raimi. And then the other guy with like a brown beard and a blonde bowl cut that's not even.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think.
He's one of the guys in that scene. He plays 2 different guys in the same scene.
Oh, that one I did not know.
Yeah. And one of them is like off screen and you just hear him yell, "You have my steel." And then the other one is shown on screen and it shows him and then 2 guys to the left of him and or to the right of him, and he's on the far left with a brown beard and a blonde or a bleach blonde bowl cut that's uneven. And all 3 of those were played by Ted
Mosby?
Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi. Okay. Not Ted Mosby.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, no. So the ending scene is just him explaining it to a coworker, and then the hot coworker comes up to him in his mind and is like talking to him, and then he has to save him from the evil customer because, Deadites are back. Because he didn't say the words. You had to say the same words in order to get transported back. And he didn't say them. He didn't say every single syllable, but I basically said them. So that happens, and then he says, "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store." And then takes it's a repeater and just goes to town.
Absolutely.
On her. And then finally, kisses the girl and says, "Hail to the king, baby."
Yep. And then roll credits.
Roll credits. But that was I thought that was a fitting ending.
So do you know the endings? All of the endings?
No.
So there's only one other ending I want to talk about for this movie.
Okay.
So in the original ending that Sam Raimi really wanted to go with, instead of going back to the present time, the wizard dude is like, "Oh, we can't send you back, but I have this potion that'll let you sleep for X number of years." And he's like, "Cool." So he drinks the potion and then wakes up in post-apocalyptic future. And it's basically Ash doing his thing in post-apocalyptic future in Evil Dead 4. But they didn't end up going with that ending because it was like super bleak because he wakes up and, everyone is dead. Everyone is gone.
Right.
And the studio was just like, "No, that's too bleak." And apparently in some interview he did, based on a video I watched, I didn't actually find the interview when I looked for it.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he was happy, or Sam Raimi said that he was happy that they didn't let him do his original ending because he would have never had the opportunity to make Evil Dead 4 the way he wanted it to be in the post-apocalyptic future.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
And that's coming out this year, right? Or supposedly.
I don't think it's. I mean, it's Evil Dead Rise,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I've heard rumors that Evil Dead Rise is going to be a continuation of Army of Darkness and a continuation of Evil Dead 2013 with both Mia and Bruce Campbell in it.
Okay.
But I haven't actually looked into it, so I don't know how valid that is. That's just something I've been told.
Well, if we do an episode of the Evil Dead 2013, you will get to hear my intense hatred for Mia.
If we do Evil Dead 2013, we're probably going to do a regular Evil Dead as well.
That would be the two for comparing the two.
Yeah.
Because I fucking hate Mia.
That's cold-blooded.
So the scene, and I don't know what it is.
If we're going to do it, then we shouldn't talk about it.
Well, no, because I'm going to talk about it because, like, I don't know. It just annoys me and I don't understand why. You know ASMR?
I feel like my voice is very AMSR-y for all of our listeners.
Okay, I can't fucking stand ASMR. Like, it ignites a rage in me for some weird reason. Like, it does not soothe me. It makes me want to, I don't know, get mad or whatever because I don't like ASMR.
No, I feel that.
And the scene that makes me hate her character more than anything is in the trailer, is when she's whispering about the demons or whatever. There's something here. I hate that scene.
So I vaguely remember the scene, but I don't remember it from the trailer.
Nah, you watch trailers in there and guarantee it. I'll never forget where that scene's at. But that's not the point anyway. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think I'm good on Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness.
Evil Dead Army of Darkness.
What recommendations do you have for these movies?
I don't want to give recommendations for this one because it's going to be the same recommendations that we always give for funny comedy movies. So if you've listened to any of our other podcasts, it'll be the exact same. But I mean, like Tucker and Dale, Cabin in the Woods, any funny comedy horror movie would be on this list.
I mean, I would also throw in any other
Like Cooties.
Sam Raimi movie. Yeah, Cooties. But
I don't know about any other Sam Raimi movie.
I don't know. I would toss in Drag Me to Hell.
I hate that movie, so I can't.
I mean, I didn't think it was bad, but I would toss in Drag Me to Hell probably. I think that if you like these movies, you would pretty much like any. Well, I mean, Taylor already said it. He said exactly what I was about to just say again. So
Yeah, no, I know, because we say it every time that we bring up a funny horror comedy. So from now on, when we do horror comedies, I'm just going to say I'm going to refer to different episodes
Okay.
for recommendations.
All right. What else? What do you have for Taylor Talk then, if you have nothing else for the movie?
I was going to do something with a video game this time, but after, having a fan interaction who said that we talked about video games way too long, I don't want to do it. So what I was going to do was I was going to ask you a video game related question for this one, and I can't do it anymore.
I mean,
So I guess I'll ask you a question that I just think of randomly, and we can talk about that for Taylor Talk. We can talk about the psychology of why I don't like ASMR. I don't know. Do you like ASMR videos?
I mean, they're not something that I would intentionally watch for fun, but it's not something that like offends me when it's on.
I know what I want to talk about.
Okay.
I didn't really like El Camino that much.
I pretend that it's not canon because in my mind,
The ending was perfect.
in my mind, Walter White is fine, and El Camino played it off like he isn't.
It was very obvious. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that one because that's ruining it. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, go see Breaking Bad because it's like great. Breaking Bad was amazing. That's one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Same.
One of my favorite TV shows used to be Game of Thrones, but it's not anymore.
Oh, they butchered the last
8th season. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good up until that 8th season. Make your own ending up.
Yeah, just pretend that what's canon is not canon so that you can live a happier life.
Oh, I'm gonna start The Wire.
Why?
Well, because like everybody talks about, the two greatest shows on HBO are literally The Wire and The Sopranos, and then they're interchanged, right? Because basically either The Sopranos is number one and The Wire is number two, or The Wire is number one and The Sopranos are number two. No matter which list you look at, it's always those two. And I've seen The Sopranos. Like, I own the box set DVD of The Sopranos, and I really like The Sopranos. So might just try The Wire.
The Sopranos is gold, and The Wire isn't bad, But any list that says The Wire is better than The Sopranos is wrong.
So you think it should be Sopranos than The Wire?
For 100%, without a doubt in my mind. Sure.
Well, I'm glad that you say that, so I can avoid that. I do want to try Westworld though. I've heard that was good.
I liked Westworld. I am not fully caught up. I think that they're still airing episodes, or a new season just dropped recently,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't seen that.
I think I'm gonna try to watch that or some shit. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm running out of things to like watch. That's the problem.
I've been rewatching Dragon Ball Z.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen this since I was a kid.
Same.
If we're being honest.
But do you have anything else for us today, Mr. Freeman?
No, that was a really shitty Taylor talk, and I'm sorry. But I want to thank all of our fans. What are you doing?
I messed up.
What did you mess up?
I accidentally used your last name instead of calling you Taylor, and you should cut it.
What? I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I don't care.
That's fair.
I'll probably just cut this all out.
Really?
No, I'm not gonna cut it. Like, if you're friends with me on Facebook, because like, here's the deal. Like, I don't care. For the simple fact that if you're part of the Facebook group, you know my last name.
I mean, that's fair. And I mean, I'm not like hiding mine or anything.
Yeah.
I just didn't mean to like fully name drop you there. It's
No.
just where my brain went.
No, I don't care. I mean, if you're friends with me on Facebook, you know my name. Most of and if you're a random person who wants to get to know me better, swap me, I guess. We'll become real good friends now that you have that information.
Well, I mean, they still don't have your address.
If they swap me, they can. But yeah, I don't know. It's like it's fine. I don't care that you name drop me.
I didn't mean to. It was literally just a thing that happened.
It's like I'm not gonna name drop you. Don't worry.
Well, I appreciate it, even though I'm in the Facebook group as well.
You want me to do my middle name too, my full name?
No, there's no reason, unless you want to. If you want to.
No, my real identity has been shared for all the world to see.
Oh no.
Batman has now been unveiled as Bruce Wayne. Superman has been unveiled as Clark Kent.
Dog, you should stop giving away secret identities.
Dude, I mean, I think that's your thing since you gave away mine. So
It was unintentional.
it's okay. We can start this episode with Mr. Freeman.
I mean, we could.
You know, I've always wanted to get my PhD because Dr. Freeman just sounded really cool.
I mean, I feel like that's been done.
No, it has, but not for me.
I mean, that's fair. Have you played Half-Life 2?
Yes.
Isn't his last name Freeman?
Yeah. First name is not Morgan.
No.
No. Which I'm not related to Morgan Freeman. If you were thinking that, I am not related to Morgan Freeman.
That would be cool.
That would be super cool if I was actually related to Morgan Freeman. I would be like super ecstatic.
Same.
I'd be like, dude, that dude's cool as shit.
For sure.
So Morgan Freeman, if you're ever listening to this, we are not related, but we could be. Not really. There's literally no way that we could be related. The fuck was that?
I just dropped my disposable vape. I apologize.
That is okay. We'll end it on that note. So thank you to every single person who has made it this far. And if you've made it this far, let me know that you made it this far by giving me my full name.
What's your full name?
Oh, you know my full name if you've made it this far.
Then this has been Bailey. Thank you for listening.
And this has been Taylor. Thank you for listening as well. And this has been Two Idiots, One Podcast.
Farewell.
Bye.